second citizenship opportunities for millionaires in 2026. So something that I'm getting a lot of questions about is what are all the opportunities to get a second citizenship, a second passport. And currently we had in 2025 a year that closed some programs, brought some new ones, and there is a lot of misinformation circulating in the market and especially online. And I see that clients and prospects get a little bit of confused which programs to pursue, which would be a good fit for them, like what is everything that is available to them. And especially for millionaires, citizenship is not just for travel, it's for control. Where you live, where your assets are, where the geopolitical risk is, and where the future of your family lies in case there are some sudden rule changes. And what is also very much surprising is that a part of these millionaires actually do qualify for a second citizenship but never act on it because they might not be aware of the fact that there might be an ancestor. There might be a descent option for them to get a second citizenship, or something like that has existed and they missed out on that opportunity, or they're just not aware of how to make use of this. Hence, going for the CBI options seems like a straightforward answer to which second citizenship to get. And then you have a collection of all the CBI passports. But something that one should first keep in mind is there some ancestor? Is there a descent option for you to use in order to expand your global mobility and get a Plan B passport, for example? And in case you're new to this channel, I'm Theodora from The Passport Investor, an international advisory firm focusing on second citizenship and residency opportunities and global business solutions. We work with individuals, families, and global-minded entrepreneurs that want to increase their freedom, access, and have options in case some risky situations happen. You never know these days, and having multiple options does give you a layer of security. The first opportunity for getting a second citizenship, which I really wish to highlight, is citizenship by descent, which oftentimes does get overlooked. But before we discuss the investment programs, one fact that needs to be cleared is that if somebody has descent, has an ancestor, and the possibility to get a second citizenship this way, they should definitely prioritize it. Because many countries in Europe and Latin America do allow citizenship by descent through either a parent or a grandparent. And in the past century, we've seen that migration has been extreme. So a lot of people do have some ancestral ties to another country. And one of the reasons that I really like citizenship by descent is because it can give you a second citizenship which you would not be able to access through an investment program. So you get a second passport for a lot cheaper. Citizenship that has a strong reputation, especially if you have ancestors from some of the EU countries who are members at the moment, like Italy, Ireland, Spain. These are citizenships and passports which you cannot obtain through an investment program, and some of the strongest passports in the world. So if you have descent, if you have grandparents from these countries, then definitely have a look into it. In addition to a strong reputation, this is also a better solution long-term for banking compliance, and it's less politically sensitive than a CBI option. Especially if you are a millionaire, these are some of the reasons why you should first consider citizenship by descent. Now, it does get skipped over because a lot of people think that they don't qualify or are in a rush to get a second citizenship and think that an investment program will be a faster solution or is the only solution. A second opportunity for obtaining a second citizenship to mention is citizenship by merit, also known as citizenship by exceptional contribution. This is not a published program. It is not a citizenship by investment. So, citizenship by merit is granted at government's discretion and only to individuals who are able to contribute at a national value to a country, such as artists, sportists, scientists that can bring some innovation of a national value, business people that bring large scale investments, huge and huge amounts of wealth to a country, that allocate huge companies to a country. So it has to be something that is of a national interest to even be looked at and considered. However, the benefits of considering and pursuing such a citizenship is that one can access citizenship could not be possible through citizenship by investment programs, but there is no guarantee that even if an individual brings such huge amounts of wealth and contributes to a country significantly, that that person could obtain the citizenship of that country in spite of the contribution. So this kind of citizenship path is not for everybody. However, it can unlock access to citizenships that would not be accessible through traditional citizenship by investment programs. And the third option, which we're going to talk about in this video, and probably one of the most interesting ones for millionaires, is citizenship by investment and the options available now. So, in most cases, when we say citizenship by investment or CBI programs, we are thinking about the Caribbean because the Caribbean have five opportunities, five countries that operate citizenship by investment programs, and investors can participate in those programs. As we all know, the Caribbean remain the best known cluster for CBI. And the countries commonly cited are Dominica, Grenada, St. Kitts and Nevis, St. Lucia, Antigua and Barbuda. They are generally structured around a contribution option and sometimes also real estate opportunities. And of course, due diligence, which every investor, participant, applicant has to go through. So these programs are popular because they can be relatively straightforward compared to multi-year naturalization routes. But they also come with reputational and compliance realities, like banks and exchanges might scrutinize them. The rules can tighten, and they are tightening. The processing time can stretch. It used to be a lot shorter. Now it takes more time for the processing. Before, it was possible to do these programs fully remote. Now that rules are getting stricter, a bit of a residency requirement is being introduced at the Caribbean. And there is also the negative connotation of having a CBI passport, the fear of these passports losing access to the Schengen, and all the negatives that might come with having a CBI passport. So, for those that do not want to have the risk of having a CBI passport, these programs might not be the best option. However, one of the main benefits of such structured opportunities is that investors can put into the application also their family members, spouse, children, sometimes parents, and even siblings in certain situations. So, CBI programs, as we start with those in the Caribbean, they're an opportunity not just for individuals but also for families to give them a better future, access to healthcare, a more tax friendly environment, education, and of course, increase global mobility and freedom of movement. Each of these countries offers different donation, contribution, or real estate opportunities that enable investors to obtain second citizenship and participate in this kind of programs. So investors have opportunities to choose in which way they're participating in. And some of these countries offer additional perks because of relationships with other countries, such as Grenada is popular and oftentimes mentioned due to its connection to the US E2 visa. And it can be a good pathway for individuals that also are interested in the US. Important note related to the Caribbean CBI programs is that the costs have risen, the processing time is longer than it used to be, and due diligence is a lot stricter than it used to be in the previous years. And now, novelty is that also slight residency requirement is also being introduced. So things are changing very fast, and the opportunity that is present now on the market might not be as attractive in a year or two, or not be present at all. We saw in 2025 a number of programs have been closed, died, new programs have been introduced. So if you are considering a second citizenship, a CBI opportunity, and you see that one is interesting to you, fits your goals, your financial abilities and interests long term, then it's definitely time to jump in on it if it's possible for you, because you don't know how long this opportunity will be present on the market and how attractive this opportunity will be in case some regulations change. And we saw that prices are increasing, it's becoming stricter and stricter. So it's better to be a day too early than too late. Nevertheless, the Caribbean are still a great opportunity for some individuals. We cannot deny this because the way they have affected a number of people's lives, the quality of their lives, enable them access and opportunity that is not deniable, and it's mutually beneficial for such countries to have programs to bring investment for the good of their country, as well as to give the opportunity to investors to have a second citizenship and a passport that gives them opportunities and increases their freedom. Then we have Turkey with its CBI program. It's continuing to attract investors due to its tangible asset opportunity, namely by investing 400,000 US dollars into real estate property. Investors can obtain the Turkish passport, and this is a great opportunity because it's not a donation, it's an investment into something tangible. So for a lot of people this feels a lot safer because they can see where the money is going and it's their property, which they can use and sell after the minimum holding period. And Turkey gives also a lot of opportunities, and I would say it's not the strongest passport for travel, definitely not the strongest CBI passport for travel, but it's a good plan B option. And Turkey does come with some perks if some business people, investors have interests in spreading their business in the country and want permanent access to the country. It gives access to the domestic market. It's very much attractive because of its geopolitical location, and also if you already have originally citizenship, that might be a little bit controversial if you're trying to access certain other markets. Turkey might just give you the neutrality that you need for your further goals. Now, the documentation, of course, is necessary for this program as well, and the timelines might in reality not be as quick as those that are being advertised. And we have seen that even the threshold for this program has also increased, because there was a time that it used to be 200K, then it became 400K. I would still say that this program is attractive, and financially it does make very much sense, especially the real estate route, because you invest in a property, in an apartment, 400K, and After 3 years, you can sell it and you have a citizenship for life. There are also lesser known citizenship by investment programs, which are rarely talked about. Egypt, Jordan, Cambodia. These are also opportunities for investors, but they're not so much talked about. So Egypt operates a formal citizenship by investment program through donation, bank deposit, business investment, or real estate. Now, this will not grant you a strong passport for travel. However, it is an option for business people and individuals that already have some present interests in the country. And it might tie with their long-term goals within Egypt. It's not a citizenship by investment program that will increase your mobility significantly, but like I said, it's a niche product for people who already have some interests and business activities, long-term goals within Egypt. Similar to that is also Jordan, because it also offers a citizenship by investment. However, it is situational and mostly relevant to individuals who have interests within the country or region and need this kind of citizenship for their perception, for regional exposure, and their long-term interests and goals within these countries and regions. The third option is Cambodia. Now, it is grouped with citizenship by investment programs. However, it functions a little bit different, but it does offer citizenship pathways for investors and based on investments. However, like Egypt and Jordan, the value of this passport is not in increasing the mobility of an investor, but to give some regional exposure and, in this case, more Asia-focused strategies, residency, diversification. So these three are very situation-specific opportunities and not for everybody, and definitely not options to increase somebody's mobility, but for diversification, for some business interests, depending on the region and the country, it can be a good opportunity to consider. A benefit which I would also like to highlight, because these programs are not so much talked about, like the Caribbean in relation to CBI, like, to be clear, behind every CBI is a process and qualification and due diligence. However, some might have a little bit of more negative connotations, others have. All these pathways and opportunities mentioned are legitimate, but they are more purpose specific and not for everybody, definitely not for someone who's looking to increase their mobility. But for those who see a clear purpose in becoming citizens of one of these countries, gaining access to these countries and regions, it can be a good solution if it can serve their purpose and long-term goals. And then we have Africa, which seems to be emerging with a number of CBI opportunities. We saw that in 2025, two CBI programs have been launched in Africa, Sao Tome and Sierra Leone. And in addition to that, Botswana has also announced its plans for its citizenship by investment program, which should be launched and active sometimes this year. We know approximately some information about it, but we will know more once it is active and functioning. So both Sao Tome and Principe and Sierra Leone are not citizenships that would give passports that increase mobility significantly. The main proposition for Sao Tome is that at this moment, this would be the cheapest citizenship by investment program offered on the market, and it is extremely fast, so a very fast processing time. But it should be regarded more as a diversification and future optionalities passport rather than something that would significantly increase somebody's access to other countries. And there is also Sierra Leone, which is very interesting because of its membership in ECOWAS, giving access to 15 countries, so all ECOWAS members, and it's also a Commonwealth country, which gives a unique positioning with its Go for Gold program. And it gained a lot of attention, and I would say it's a very interesting and niche product, which can be a good opportunity and solution for investors that are interested specifically in this part of the world and this part of Africa. It can be very much interesting and a good opportunity due to that. And then we are also looking forward to seeing Botswana, which should be, once it's launched, even more price attractive than Sao Tome and Principe is at this moment. So that will be very exciting once it is launched. So what I would say regarding African programs, some investors may claim that Africa is on the rise and a lot is in development. So that brings a lot of opportunities for investment and growth, and many foreigners want to be part of that, part of the future of a growing demographic. And in the right context, the African programs can make sense for somebody. A great diversification tools and giving access to an interesting, potentially profitable area. However, if you want to travel a lot, then do take into consideration that these passports are great additions to passports that give you higher mobility and enable you to travel a lot, and not substitute for such passports. They're not substitutes for top tier passports and not really travel documents to be used specifically for travel. After this long list of active programs and available opportunities, I would like to mention that there are some programs that might somewhere be understood wrongly and considered still active, even though they're not anymore active. Like Montenegro was a very popular and attractive citizenship by investment program, but it is not active anymore. Also, North Macedonia is not active. And last year, there was a big change regarding Malta. Its citizenship by investment program has been and shifting towards more citizenship by merit opportunity. So, in addition to that, there have been some scams and advertisements for EU citizenship for 30,000. So be very careful with that, because if you don't have ancestry for that price range, it is almost it's not possible to obtain a citizenship in a legal way, and there are no CBI opportunities in the EU. Malta had it, now that is gone. There are other ways to obtain an EU passport, like I said, descent, marriage, naturalization. There is still the opportunity in Portugal through the golden visa, but that takes a lot of time, many years. Now, with the backlogs and the processing the qualification, it will take time. So no shortcuts or cheap ways to obtain an EU citizenship. Besides the programs that are not active anymore, there are some schemes circling around the market and social media offering fast and low-cost EU citizenship. And this is something that has to be treated with extreme caution. And there are many opportunities still present which are legal and compliant and can guide individuals and families towards obtaining a second citizenship or a third or fourth. So opportunities are still present. Things are changing, regulations are changing, things are getting more strict. Some programs are closing, new ones are arising. So if you see something that is very attractive to you now, and if you're considering doing a CBI while it's still available, then do it, because we don't know how much time this opportunity will be present on the market. If it's going to become stricter or more expensive with time, we saw that the Caribbean have become more expensive and stricter. So while there is opportunity to get a second passport, do it, take it, and secure yourself, your future, and your family, because you never know what might happen. And if nothing happens, it was just an additional layer of security that gave you confidence. High-level investors don't just collect passports, they engineer optionality. Having options, having opportunities is the main benefit of having multiple citizenships and residencies. So, first of all, consider your ancestry, and if there is no opportunity in regard to that, then there are numerous CBI options, which I have mentioned just now, and see, based on your long-term goals and objectives, which one of those programs might suit your specific situation. It's important to think long-term and choose a program that fits your current situation and your long-term goals, and not to do something which you might regret later, or delaying something until it's possibly not anymore on the market and available. If you're considering second citizenship in 2026, the first step is strategy before application, and we can help you in identifying and choosing the best options for your specific situation. And maybe there is something that was overlooked, maybe there is another opportunity, or maybe one of those programs would just be a great fit for you and your specific situation, but we are not fully aware of that yet. So at the Passport Investor, we help global entrepreneurs, investors, and high net worth individuals increase their freedom by strategically planning out their next citizenship or residency move, just so it's the best fit for their current situation and their long-term goals.